Hello and welcome to another Some Old Gamer video. Today I'm going to be checking this out, which is the original power supply that came with my Amiga that I bought. I want to make sure that it's given an appropriate voltage before I connect it to the computer. I also have this, which is a second power supply that I bought off eBay. It's a lightweight one. This one is quite heavy. There's obviously quite a large transistor or something inside it. This one's really light. So I'm actually interested to see what's inside both of these, but that's for another day. Today I just want to check the voltages, and whichever one I feel is most appropriate to 12 volts and with a 5 volt pin I will use to try and power the Amiga, make sure it works. Okay, so welcome to my workbench. This is just a cheap PCB holder, bought off Amazon. Highly recommend it, simply because you need three hands, 4 hands sometimes, and that just helps. There's the power supply that came with the Amiga. If I can sort this cabling out, I can explain to you what I'm going to do. I'm going to test it. At least test it enough to where it's not going to, hopefully not going to fry the computer that it belongs to. So I'll turn it around. I'll get that cable out of the way. I'll get that cable held in this little contraption. Hopefully you can see that. There is the pin layout for the Amiga. You can see the pin on the top right is ground, and with 12 volts top left. In the centre with minus 12 volts, and in the bottom right we have plus 5 volts. The other pin I think is for the shielding. I'm not worried about that. Right, that's the power supply on. Now, what am I going to use to test it? I'm going to use a cheap multimeter. And I do mean cheap. This multimeter was about £10. I'm going to set it to 20 volts. I'm going to flick the light on so you can actually read it. Really should have all this done beforehand, but if you persevere with me, I will get better at these videos, I promise. Plug that negative terminal in, can you see that? Move this a bit. You can see that. Okay. So, I'm going to use some earth sheathing, and I'm going to use that to cover all 4 pins. I'm going to cut it into about 1/2 inch lengths, and this is basically just to prevent me from shorting anything when I'm testing. You could use heat shrink tubing, you could use basically whatever you've got. Surely my hands are shaky, I have no idea why. So it's probably a good idea that I've done this. So anyway, hopefully you can see that. If I'm able to zoom in anymore, I will. So I'm going to put my negative probe I'm going to flick the power supply on. I'm going to test the 12 volt. So this should give me 12 volts, and as you can see it's giving me pretty much bang on 12 volts, just very slightly over. We'll try the center. It should be negative 12. And we're negative 13. Fluctuating a wee bit. That could be the fact that this is a cheap multimeter, but cheap or not, it'll tell me what I need to know. This one needs to be 5 volts. I have. So the 5 volt pin is 5 volts, just slightly over. I think I'm happy enough with this power supply to, at the very least, power up the Amiga, and hopefully it'll work. But before I'm done here, I want to check the other power supply. So again, I'm going to reuse those. Just get my keyboard out of the way. Take this power supply away. Knock a few things over. And I'll bring the other power supply in. This one's very lightweight. So, it obviously doesn't have a big transformer in it, like the other one. I think I called it a transistor in the introduction, like an idiot. It's a transformer. Right. Move these probes out of the way. Again, connect this up just so it makes life a bit easier. This time, try and cover the pins properly. There's the 12 volt. There's the minus 12 volt. There's the 5 volt. And there's the ground. So, again, ground in first. And hopefully you can see that. It is held by the heat shrink tubing, or in this case earth tubing. And into the plus 12 volts line I go. That's telling me 14.5. I'm climbing. I might eventually hit 15 volts, which for a 12 volt line, I'll have to do a bit of research, but I think that's too high. What's the 12 negative like? We are negative 14.5. And the 5 volt for the last one. Even the 5 volt's a bit high. It's not very high. That would be acceptable. 5.3. So anyway, that's how I'm testing these power supplies. This second one I'm not going to bother using, just because I don't really feel confident with it being slightly higher than what it should be. What I will do though is I'll see you over at the computer, and fingers crossed I have a good day today and the computer works. Okay, so here's my setup. There's the Amiga. There's the old power supply. There's the Amiga plugged into a nice RGB discard cable into a RetroTink 5X. I'm very fortunate to have that. But anyway, fingers crossed on a light of some description here. 3, 2, 1, and we have a green light, and we have a workbench. Yeehaw! I am so happy. This computer was sold to me as untested, and we all know that normally means it's wrecked. I am so fortunate. I can now go on to my next stage of pulling this apart, cleaning it, retrobrighting it, and then hopefully upgrading it and blasting with some Turrican. I have a list of games that I want to play again, games that I loved, and I'm going to play again. I can't wait. Anyway, thanks for coming along with me on my journey. Please like and subscribe if you're interested in retro gaming and you're interested in old timers like me and how we used to do it, and the maintenance and care for these old computers and consoles. I play consoles as well. First and foremost a computer gamer, but gamer's a gamer in my book. Anyway, see you again soon. Bye.